Can people still afford to buy housing in Las Vegas? Is the market becoming so hot and increasing so much that people are being priced out, that we're going to start to see a collapse because people can't afford to buy things and therefore there's no support for the market? I don't think that's what's going on here. And so I've started looking at the statistics and the data, and I've discovered some interesting information I want to share with you. So I am Justin Miller with the Chong Miller Group. At the Chong Miller Group, we help people buy and sell homes. I also like to make sure that the marketplace is educated, both for our consumers, for other real estate professionals in the market, as well as other real estate information and product consumers. And so I share this information with you. And obviously, if you'd like to talk with us further about this, if you'd like to engage us for our services, we would be happy to sit down and help you and talk with you about the various details. But today, let's go ahead and start to look at the issue of affordability. Now, one of the reasons I want to look at this issue is because every time prices start to increase, especially increase at significant pace, we start to see lots of people wringing their hands about how people are being priced out of the market, can't afford housing, that the market's becoming ultra exclusive, and that ultimately it's bad for the market. The data indicates something really different. And so I want to show you what the data are. So in June of 2006, we had hit our previous peak in the housing market. The pre-financial collapse peak in the housing market. And the nominal dollar value of that was $314,700. Now, that number is kind of meaningless in and of itself, but that was if you were living in 2006 and buying the median priced home, that's what you would pay, $314,700. Well, the problem when we talk about median nominal dollars that are denominated within a particular year, is they don't capture comparative information that we can show across time. At least they don't capture it well. So we need to inflate those $2006 to $2021 to be able to make comparisons to what's going on today. In today's dollars, that $314,700 from June of 2006, that's actually $420,216 in real or 2021 dollar terms. So let me just take a short break and talk real quickly about inflation and what inflation is and why it's important to us. The value of the dollar in terms of its purchasing power decreases over time. Prices go up over time. So a cup of coffee that cost, I don't drink coffee, I don't know, let's just say $1. That cost $1 in 1930 costs something more than $1 today because there's inflation. Well, inflation doesn't just take place over long stretches of time. It actually takes place every single day, and we can measure it well, actually, over quarterly periods of time and certainly over annual periods of time. In fact, there are statistics, consumer price index and wholesale price index and other versions of inflation calculators or calculations that are released on a monthly and quarterly basis by the government all the time. And so we can create an inflation schedule that compares what dollars were at a particular time to what dollars are at some other particular time. All right, so that means we need to do inflation calculation to get things from nominal dollars in some particular year to effectively real dollars, comparative dollars that are equal across time. So 2006, $314,700 is equal to, at just about the same time, in June of 2021, $420,216. Now, the median sale price at the end of May in the Las Vegas Valley for single-family detached houses, resales, was $383,750. Now, that's less than the median, the inflated median sale price from 2006. It's less by $37,000 approximately. So that's kind of interesting. And that relates to whether or not housing prices may be affordable right now. As you can see here, looking at nominal dollars provides us distorted understanding of prices. We're actually $36,466 below on real dollar terms what we were in June of 2006. But let's look at this in a different manner. Most people don't pay cash for houses. They make a down payment. Maybe they make an extra large down payment. Some people will take cash because they'll take it from the sale of one property and move it over to the purchase of another property. But still, well over 2/3, over 70% actually, of houses are bought with a mortgage loan. So most people have to pay interest on that mortgage loan. And that creates a different dynamic for housing price affordability. And so let's look at some more issues here. Again, in 2006, June, the median price was $314,750. The interest rate, the approximately average interest rate that somebody could get on a mortgage at that time was 6.75%. Now, mortgage rates have come down. We're going to look at that in just a minute. But that meant, so assuming a 90% loan to value, meaning putting in a 10% down payment on that house, it would have been $31,470. Financing 90% with the mortgage, and the mortgage being a 30-year fixed rate mortgage at 6.75%, that meant that your mortgage payments, your P&I, principal and interest payment only, doesn't include taxes, homeowners association fees, insurance, does not include private mortgage insurance if you needed to get that, anything like that, just P&I. That gave you a monthly payment of $1,820 per month. And again, those are nominal June 2006 dollars. So if we inflate that to current dollars, to middle of the year 2021 dollars, that's $2,430 per month. So in other words, the median home being bought by people who could afford median homes, because you can't buy a home you can't afford by definition, the bank won't lend you the money. So banks lending money to purchase a home that people can afford based on their current standards, income standards, etc. That was costing people $2,430 per month, equivalent. Now today, let's go to the beginning of last year, right before the pandemic hit. The beginning of last year, January of 2020, the median sale price was $300,000. Now, if we inflate that, actually, that's $304,200 in 2021 dollars, right? So there's been a little bit of inflation during the course of this past year, a little over 1%. Interest rates in January of 2020 were 4.0%. And again, we're going to look at the same structure of a mortgage, 90% loan to value, 30-year fixed rate loan, but the interest rate has fallen from 6.75% to 4.0%. That would have meant purchasing that median home priced property in January of 2020, you would be left with a mortgage payment of $1,284. If we inflate that to current year dollars, just so that we get a sense of where this is going and being able to make comparisons to the actual present day as well, that would be $1,336 in 2021 dollar terms, right? So that's just over half of what it was in June of 2006, right? Half of June 2006 would have been $1,215, so we're $121 higher than that per month. than half of that per month, right? So that's what we looked like sort of going into the pandemic. Now, prices were flat to down slightly through the first half of 2020 before prices started increasing. And by the end of 2020, we got to median sale prices in December and in January and February in 2021 of 340,000. But by May of this year, by the end of May, our median sale price had gone all the way up to $383,750. So that's interesting. Remember that compares to the equivalent of $420,216. So we're still to $37,000 approximately below what we were in June of 2016. But we're looking at the loan now. Well, interest rates about the beginning of June in 2021 are 3%. And looking again at the same structural mortgage, 90% loan to value, meaning 10% down, and 30-year fixed rate loan at 3%, that leaves us with a monthly housing payment of $1,452. That's $1,000 less than the effective payment was in June of 2006. Interestingly, it's actually almost $400 less than even the nominal dollar figure from June of 2006. Interesting in terms of looking at numbers, not interesting so much in terms of comparison, because those dollars were worth more than dollars are worth today. So we're about $1,000 per month lower in carrying costs than we were in June of 2006. That's only 60% of the monthly cost of a medium price home in 2006. Interestingly, it's 8.8% more than the carrying cost for a home at the beginning of 2020. That's kind of interesting in that we've seen price appreciation of $83,750 at the median during that 1.5 year period of time, but we're only 8.8% higher on monthly carry cost, and it's because interest rates have come down. So, in other words, we're not hitting the kinds of affordability problems that we started to run into in 2006. Now, granted, the economy is different now than it was at that time. There are problems in the economy that we've experienced due to the pandemic and the closing of the economy. High levels of unemployment, definite loss of income that people have suffered. Of course, 2006 was where Las Vegas started to feel the impacts of the financial crisis that really metastasized across the country from 2008 through 2011. And so we had high unemployment from that peak going into 2011, really from 2006 to 2011, things were going downhill in the housing market here in Las Vegas, in the employment market here in Las Vegas, in the population dynamics here in Las Vegas. So that's from the peak to where we are now, and where we are now is just coming out of a significant crisis associated with the pandemic. And housing prices have gone up, but not in real dollar terms. They're still a little bit lower. Housing prices have become much easier to actually pay for on a monthly basis. But let's do a little thought experiment as well. A thought experiment that's kind of interesting. It's right. So what I've just told you is real. That is actually real, based in the data that actually exists from 2006 to 2021. But some people like to think, if only I had bought at the bottom of the market, I would be so well off right now. Well, perhaps. It's always nice to be able to buy at the bottom and be able to sell at the top. timing the real estate market is really hard. You don't get the same kinds of technical indicators that you do in an efficiently functioning market like the stock market, where there's lots of transactions on completely non-differentiated product, right? One share of Tesla stock is the same as another share of Tesla stock. And so there's a dynamic market that clears daily in Tesla stock. And so you get large price fluctuations, potentially. The stock market, though, also tends to clear, some people claim on information, not necessarily true. Information can have an impact, but it doesn't really clear that way. Some people believe it's because some think the market or the particular stock is going to go up in value, while others think the stock is going to go down in value. And so you have this equilibrium in the market that just happens to fluctuate wildly sometimes, not actually descriptive of what really goes on in the market, although there's some truth for individual investors, buyers and sellers. You also get a liquidity issue with the stock market. Some people need to move their money out of a particular stock, maybe because they need the money for something else, like to bet on horses or to buy a house or to buy a different stock that they think is going to do better. And so liquidity constraints are actually one of the things that are primary determinants of what goes on in a particular stock price at a particular moment in time. We don't see that kind of dynamic in the housing market, because even if somebody loses their job, and no one else is losing their job around them, right? We're not in a pandemic, we're not in a crisis, but somebody has lost their job, they've lost their income, they need to sell their home. If they don't sell their home right away, they can't make payments on it, the bank is going to foreclose. That process unwinds over a minimum of 6 months and as long as 18 months. So somebody may feel, I've got to sell, but they actually have a time period in which they can do that prior to losing the home and not being able to sell it. So you can get short sales, you can get distressed sales, you can get people making bad decisions, perhaps, to get out of something, but they're not under the same kind of, I'm going to sell it today, it's gone today, I have the cash in my account, sort of thing that you get in the stock market. So I make that comment because as we look at sort of this thought experiment, what could have been, keep in mind, you're not going to find yourself buying at the bottom and selling at the top. And if you're thinking we're approaching the top because housing price affordability is just deteriorating, as I just showed you, that's not the case. We have a long way to run to get to a problem with affordability. In another video, we'll talk about comparisons between Las Vegas and other markets as related to affordability. We just do not have an affordability problem here. So, was there a big bounce off the bottom? The bottom of the market occurred in January of 2012. The median sale price in January of 2012 was $117,000. Wow, that's low. I wish I'd been here buying up lots of properties at $117,000. But remember, most people don't pay cash for properties. They buy properties with a mortgage. And so let's use the same mortgage dynamics and structures that we used looking at affordability, assuming a 90% loan-to-value mortgage at the average interest rate of 6.75% in January of 2012, that would have left you with a mortgage payment of $677 per month. We need to inflate that. So if we inflate that to $2021, that's a mortgage payment of $903 per month. Now, that's low, right? But that's the bottom of the market, $117,000 median sale price. You could go out and get the average house at that price in Las Vegas, January of 2012. That was the bottom. You can't do it now, but at that time. Well, what if you could have? Well, January of this year, 2021, that price had gone all the way, that median price had gone all the way from $117,000 to $340,000, almost tripled. But kind of interestingly, we still buy houses with mortgages. And so with the same structure, 30-year fixed, 90% loan to value mortgage, at the average interest rate in January of 2021, about 3.0%, that would have left you with a mortgage payment of $1,287 per month. That's only 1/3 higher, about 33% higher than it's actually $384 higher than your mortgage payment would have been buying that median, totally depressed housing in January of 2012. So let's look a little bit further. Let's look at where we are right now, right? Because we're no longer at $340,000 in January of 2021. We've got housing price appreciation this year to date. So we're June 2021 right now. So the data are complete through the end of May. The end of May, housing prices in the Las Vegas Valley, single-family detached residential resales, $383,750. That's up 328% of what we were paying at the median $117,000 January 2012, bottom of the market, super distressed. More than tripled. Okay? But houses don't get sold usually for cash. The median house usually gets sold with a mortgage. The average buyer is buying with a mortgage. And so let's put this into a mortgaged calculation. Mortgages, the average mortgage, 30-year fixed, we're going to say again, 90% loan to value, so 10% down. And the interest rate is, again, here we are in the beginning of June, early June, 3%. So that leaves you with a monthly payment of $1,452 per month. Same as we saw over on the affordability slide, but here we're using it in the thought experiment. What would it have meant if you bought a house back in 2012 as opposed to waiting to buy it now? Because prices have gone up. Well, prices have gone up a lot. Prices are up 328%. But your monthly payment is only 61% higher than what it would have been at the absolute bottom of the market, January 2012. Not double, not triple, not quadruple, not even 3/4 higher, 61% higher than what it was at the distressed bottom of the market. And interestingly, that's of course still, as we saw on the affordability slide, $1,000 a month less than what people actually were paying in 2006 at the median. So we're lower than what we were at the top. We're higher, obviously, than what we were at the distressed bottom. But our monthly payments, 61% more. That's it. So could you have bought at the bottom? Hypothetically, sure, you could have. Did you buy at the bottom? Statistically, probably not. Would it have been this amazing thing for you to have bought at the bottom instead of waiting till now? You would have made some money. You absolutely would have made some money. But buying now, relative to buying at the bottom, you're only 61% higher on a monthly cost of housing than you were at the distressed bottom of the real estate market in Las Vegas, the economy, the local regional economy that was more impacted by the housing crisis than any other regional economy in the US. Remember, in Las Vegas, housing prices from the peak in June of 2006 to the bottom in January of 2012 fell by 63%, more than any other place in the country. And there are reasons for that, right? We're not going to see those reasons rematerialize. The market is very structurally different than what it was at that time. But I point that out that even with that massive collapse in housing, we're only 61% higher on monthly carry cost for housing, living costs in the Las Vegas Valley right now at the median. So you missed out if you didn't get in January 2012, clearly. But did you miss out big time? Do you still have the ability to get in and participate in the market? Clearly. Is there an affordability problem? No, there's not. Now, I caveat that with, there are always people who are stressed for cost of housing. Acknowledged. I get that. I totally get that. Anyhow, I wanted to share that with you. This is one of the Ask the Professor and Insight videos that I do occasionally for my clients and for the community to share economic and sociological highlights and information statistically analyzed to give you a greater understanding of what's actually going on in the market. Again, I am Justin Miller with the Chong Miller Group. We help people buy and sell homes. If you find this video to be helpful, please hit the like button. Please subscribe if you'd like to continue to know about these videos coming up. And please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions about the housing market, either as a buyer or a seller. Right now, clearly prices are high and going higher. And so it's a great time to be a seller. Clearly, though, as I've just shown, prices are historically not that high. There's good affordability in this market, and so it's a great time to be a buyer. The challenge right now as a buyer is there's a lot of buyers out there that you're competing with. So you need an agent who actually understands how the market's functioning and how to compete your desires and your offers vis-a-vis all of those other buyers. If you're a seller, do keep in mind, yeah, the market's hot and you could put your house out on the market on your own and sell it for something. But that doesn't mean you're making yourself a good deal. Having professional help, having help of somebody who really understands the way this market's functioning would be really helpful to you. Just as one particular example, we just sold a client's condo and got him a record price in his particular building. An identical floor plan with a better view sold immediately afterwards for approximately $25 less per foot, getting what would have been the appropriate price in the building. We broke the record. The other person who was not our client got an average price. We know how this market's functioning. We know how to take advantage on both sides, the buy side and the sell side, to maximize what you can get out of this market. Please reach out to us. We would love to be able to help you. Again, Justin Miller with the Chong Miller Group. Thank you very much.